Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by CacheFly. CacheFly.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Saturday, September 13th, 2014. This is episode 1117. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Prosper. Prosper is a peer-to-peer lending marketplace which connects people who are looking to borrow money with those who have money to lend. Visit prosper.com/twit and receive a $50 Visa prepaid card when you get a loan. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk about computers, the internet. Yeah, we'll talk about iPhones and iWatches and all that jazz. 8888, Ask Leo's the number. 888-827-5536. I'd love to answer your questions, take your comments, your suggestions. Website, techguylabs.com. Kim Schaffer on the phones today, filling in for Heather Hammond. Kim, just off the plane from Hawaii.
Just off the plane. You
look tanned, rested, ready to run.
I am.
Ready to answer. Well, good. Welcome back. So I'm exhausted because I was up all night on Friday night, Thursday night, Friday night, trying to get an iPhone, trying to get a gosh darn iPhone. I finally fell asleep. Apple Store was supposed to... Now, you heard my advice, by the way. I hope you heard my advice. People, of course, have been calling for the last 6 months saying, I want the new iPhone. Amazing. What an incredible job Apple has done of marketing. I want the new iPhone. And so what I told people, and it was accurate, was that typically what Apple will do is announce the iPhone Tuesday, allow pre-ordering at midnight or 12:01 a.m. Friday for the delivery the following week. What I also said is I expect that the big iPhone will be in short supply. What we didn't know, of course, was the details of the phone, but they've all come out, and it's pretty much what the rumor mill said. There's an iPhone 6, clever name, eh? And that's 4.7 inches, which is a big jump. The previous iPhone, the 5S, was 4 inches, so a big jump. And I think a nice size. I have my favorite phone of this past year has been the Moto X, which is exactly the same size and even a little bit lower screen resolution. Apple's going to, I think, 750 or 755 pixels along the short axis, and that means it's HD. You know, you can display it at 720p movie, and it's still Retina, but it's a little low for that phone. Most phones now are 1080p, and that's what the iPhone 6 Plus is. It's 5.5 inches. Really the only differences between the two, besides the size of the screen, the resolution of the screen, is the camera on the big one has optical image stabilization. I guess there's more room to include something like that. And we'll have better battery life. But no one's seen them yet, or at least no one's, well, I shouldn't even say that. I'm sure that on Wednesday of next week, again, if Apple is true to form, the tame trade press, Walt Mossberg, David Pogue, Ed Begg, they have them now probably, and the embargo will be off and they'll write about them. And I'm hoping I'll have one for you next week, a week from today. Not sure though. It was a weird experience, I have to say, getting online and trying to order. I finally gave up on Apple's store and went to Sprint's store, where in between crashing and hesitation, and I think I ordered a big iPhone 6 Plus for my mom. She's 80+ years old, so the 6 Plus is a good size, easy for her to reach. She's been using a Galaxy Note 3. It's about the same size, so she's excited about that. And then I was able, through Verizon. Verizon's site was pretty responsive, actually. I was able to order a 4.7-inch model, which they say ships on or before the 19th. So maybe, with any luck, I'll have one to review, at least give you a preliminary review by next week. You know, it's interesting. on the one hand, it looks like a bit of a failure for Apple not to have its store up when it said it would and to have such difficulty ordering. But this happens every year. Worse on the years where there's big big differences in the iPhone. And somebody sent me an email saying, how could you call it a failure? That's a success, right? I'd love to have that kind of success. If you're a hot dog stand and you sell out at 11:01 a.m., you're good. You go home. But Apple wants to sell as many as it can, and it certainly doesn't want to frustrate its customers. So in that regard, there's a little frustration. But those customers, really, anybody up at 12:01 a.m. on Friday morning was a hardcore Apple fan, not a normal person. And those are the people who both will be most disappointed and will forgive Apple the quickest. So I think it's fine. The rest of us, well, we may not be. If you're waiting for an iPhone or you haven't ordered an iPhone, you're probably waiting till the middle of next month. You're probably waiting a month before you're going to be able to get one. I think you could still get the little one. But as predicted, the big iPhone, the iPhone 6 Plus, is delayed at least a month. And I think that's because... I don't know. Is it harder to make, so there are fewer of them, or is it in higher demand? Everybody I know, almost everybody I know, wants the larger screen. And we're used to the phones that big. 2 years ago, people would have mocked you, and did, if you carried around a 5.5-inch phone. Now it's like, well, it's my computer more than my phone. I want to be able to see it and type on so 5.5 inches is a good size. And virtually all the phones I carry are at least 5 inches now. Most of them 5.5. The phone I use day to day now is exactly the same size as the new iPhone, the OnePlus One. I even have a Nokia 1520 that's 6 inches. It does feel a little big. Apple's phone, though, is the thinnest. It's the iPhone 5 S is thicker than the 6 Plus. The 4-inch iPhone 5S is thicker than the... So it'll be thinner, it'll be lighter. That should make it some of the size kind of go away, be less of an issue. Mike Mann in our chat room says, I woke up at midnight, spent 2 hours to get an iPhone 6 Plus on AT&T's website. I'm getting delivery on Thanksgiving. Oh, man. You know what people have been doing, which is hysterical? Ars Technica, one of the tech blogs, put out a template for making your own paper iPhone 6 and 6 Plus. A lot cheaper, I got to tell you. If you get the top of the line iPhone 6 Plus, it's almost $1,000 unsubsidized for a phone. Wow. We're in a strange, it's a brilliant marketing, Apple. Well done. And so people were trying to figure out, well, what size, how big does a 5.5-inch phone feel? Can I put it in my pocket? I know people carried around a paper iPhone for a day before they ordered because they wanted to make sure. Well, I'm holding in my hands a mock-up of the two sizes. And as soon as I realized that I'm already carrying a phone that is iPhone 6 Plus size, I thought, well, I guess I should get the big one. Why not? Bigger's better. Well, this is America. It's the Hummer of smartphones. Yeah, America. That's American phone. Anyway, congratulations to Apple for having an amazing, I think you got to call it a success. The attention, the amount of attention they get for their announcements. But that's just the phone. Then they also introduced the Apple Watch. We thought we knew this was coming. We've mentioned it. Apple's never confirmed it. Finally, it's out. Yes. Well, out next year, but they showed it. And Apple Pay, which is a new electronic payment service you'll be able to do in stores using your iPhone 6 by just tapping it. Something that Google and Android phones have had for a couple of years, and nobody wants and nobody uses. But maybe Apple can. Again, this is one of those things where you look at the iPhone 6 Plus, and it's an Android. It's the Galaxy Note 2 from 2 years ago, but it's Apple, and that makes a big difference for people. And Apple's doing Apple Pay, so that's Apple Pay, so that's a big difference. Now the Apple Watch is another matter entirely. I really was holding out high hopes that Apple would reinvent this sector. I've worn every smartwatch There are dozens of them. I'm right now wearing a Moto 360. And everybody thought Apple's going to change this market. Well, let's take a break and I'll tell you what I think in just a bit. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. It's great if you're a Japanese schoolgirl. That's all I'm saying. You'll be able to tap your heartbeat to your...
No, that's just weird. I agree that's weird.
Or draw a little fish and send it to somebody else's watch.
Like a check mark. It's like doing the thumbs up on Facebook.
Oh, it has thumbs. You don't have to do that. You have to draw thumbs. It has very nice animated emoji thumbs. It's for Japanese schoolgirls. They clearly have decided that the market is Asia for that. For the whole watch. I guarantee you will have a headache a day after you use that watch. Start using that watch. You got to look. You got to go. It's got knobs. It's got buttons.
Really?
It's a first generation. It's a first generation. It's a first generation. But don't buy the first generation. You ran a poll on Reddit. The demand for the 6 versus 6 Plus is 50-50, so that would confirm that the 6 Plus is in much less supply. I got you a Taptic right here. All of these watches are grave disappointments, but the thing was, we were like, here's the original Apple Watch, by the way, and it's in some ways it's very similar to the, oh, it died. That's another way it'll be very similar to the original Apple Watch. This is the original Apple Watch. You know, this kind of gets the job done. Why didn't Apple just put the Nano back out? Nice case, interchangeable band. It's got the all-important Apple logo on it. You could swipe. What more would you want? Are there buttons on it? I guess there are. There's volume. Oh, you swipe up? Well, I can't remember what you do to get the... Swipe that way. Oh, there you go. You can see photos on it. I think it might even be higher resolution. What's the resolution of the Nano? What was it? The iWatch is 320 by 320. It's Retina. 240 by 240. All right. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. That's one of the songs that U2 is giving away at the iTunes store through the middle of the month. So that was the other announcement. Bono and the band were on stage with Tim Cook. They had a kind of a weird schoolgirl moment. That's not U2. That's not the one. That's how they unveiled it. But there is a new U2 album. My worlds are colliding. I thought the moment where it was a very weird moment on stage during the Apple announcement on Tuesday. After all the announcements, you know, the new phones and the new watch and the Apple Pay, Tim Cook introduces Bono and U2, and the band comes on. They play a song and announce they're going to give away their new album for free, the whole thing, on iTunes. Anybody can download it. And then Tim Cook says, all right, we're going to push the button and make it available. And he reaches out his index finger, and Bono reaches out his index finger, and then they go 3, 2, 1, and they touch. That was a little strange moment there. And apparently, when they touched, the album went live on the... And so go find it. You can't. However, it's in your iTunes. So if you go to your iTunes, you can actually... You'll see it as part of your collection. So all 500 million people who have iTunes, it's in your collection now. It's just not on your hard drive. Unless, and I bet you quite a few people did have their iTunes set to automatically download purchases. If you have your iTunes set to automatically download purchases, whether it's on your iPhone or your Mac or your Windows machine on your computer, you've downloaded the album. You're one of 2 million people who's actually downloaded the album. Now, album sales of $2 million in the first couple of days, that's a big deal. That's great. But what we don't know is how many of those were just automatic downloads. I bet you have. Anyway, it shows you how the music industry has changed, because I think it's pretty clear that a band like U2, there's lots of ways for them to make money, chiefly performance. they're going to, I'm sure, tour behind the album. They'll make tons of money doing that. And then what's interesting is that as soon as this album goes out for free, it raises the awareness of U2, and U2's catalog on iTunes has suddenly in the charts again. All their old albums. So they're selling tons of old stuff by giving away the new one. The music industry has come around full circle. 10 years ago, they were suing people for stealing music. Now they're just giving it to you for free. And some wag on Twitter noted, 10 years ago, we downloaded albums and got, in trouble, got sued. 10 years later, they're giving away music free and no one wants it. Times have changed. So let's see. Those are the big four things. 2 new phones, a watch. By the way, it's not the iWatch. It's the Apple Watch, which is smart branding because now every time I say it, I have to say Apple. The Apple Watch and Apple Pay and a new free U2 album. I think it's so the watch. I was going to mention the watch. I have in my hands here the original Apple Watch. This is an iPod Nano, the square one, the one they discontinued. And in fact, it was one of the first Kickstarter projects to make a wristband for the Nano. This makes a pretty fair watch that's almost the same. It is pretty close to the same size as the Apple Watch. So you could go on eBay, buy an old Nano. It has some features the Apple Watch doesn't have, including music. You could store your music on it. It's got a little headphone jack on it. It's got apps. It's got a watch. It's got a clock on it. Different clock faces. Now we know why they discontinued the Nano, because they wanted to make a watch. I don't know. What do you think? I'd love to hear from you. What do you think of the Apple Watch? Did you look at it? Did you see a picture? It looks like a little golden pillow strapped to your arm. They got the bands right, though. You got to love it. It's easy to switch the bands. I don't know why more watch manufacturers don't do this. It's brilliant. You just press a button on the band. It slides off. You could have a band for day and night. They've got some beautiful, stylish, very high-end bands available, which is nice. 3 models. There's a stainless steel model. There's an aluminum model for sporty folk. It's very, very light. And there for those of you who wants opulence, there's an 18-karat gold model. I should caution you, though, unlike a regular watch, this watch will be obsolete in a year or two. So buying we don't know what the price is, but it's got to be $1,000 for an 18-karat gold Apple Watch that's obsolete in a year or two. Seems a little foolish. I don't know if I'll get this Apple Watch. It's not available till early next year. I guess I have to, don't I? If it were just me, I probably wouldn't. I feel that I will start getting frustrated very quickly with the little icons and twiddling the dial and pressing the buttons, and I feel like it's just it's complicated. And then a lot of the features, I don't understand who these are aimed at. The fact that you can send your heartbeat to another Apple Watch wearer or tap them a message. And the example they give is you're at a cocktail party with your wife and you have a secret code when you want to leave, so you tap, 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 or whatever. And she, on her wrist, without anyone knowing, gets bzz, 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 and she knows, oh, it's time to leave. Or you could walk over to her and say, let's go. It's solving problems no one has. Oh, you can draw a drawing on the watch, little teeny drawing, admittedly. Like the example they gave was a fish, and send it to somebody. Again, I'm not sure the value of that, but okay. And then there's very nice, elaborate, animated emojis. Do you use emojis, Kim? You're a young type female person. Do you use emojis?
Once in a while, I might put a smiley face on something. But well,
now, these are going to come alive on your wrist.
Oh, great.
But they're no good to anybody who doesn't have another iWatch. Right. I'm sorry, Apple Watch. I'm convinced this watch is for Japanese schoolgirls. This is for they're like the fashion-forward Hirajuku girls who are, they have and I just feel like they want to send their heartbeat to somebody and a little shark and tap, tap, tap. Not me. It's definitely not for the 57-year-old white man. Not for me. Anyway, so we'll watch with interest. At least, hey, you know what? The phones are great. I think they look nice. They're thin. They're light. They do a lot of interesting things, including the ability to pay. If anybody ever installs any of those payment things, then they'll be able to do that. But I can't get excited about the watch. But I'd love to know what you think. Are you somebody? Are you sitting out there going, "Oh, Leo, I cannot wait to wear that golden pillow on my wrist"? 8888 Ask Leo is the number. 888-827-5536. Website techguylabs.com. Scott Wilkinson, our home theater gurus, coming up. Talk about big screen TVs, surround sound, and all that jazz. And then we'll go to your phone calls. I'd love to know what you think. Which phone did you buy? Did you buy the big 6 Plus, or did you buy the big-ish 6? Oh, the phones are ringing. I'm not sure why, but the phones are ringing. Are they supposed to ring in here? 8888 Ask Leo. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hello? That's the hotline. Never used the hotline before. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. He's at Cedia. Scott Wilkinson, our home theater guru. Cedia, or Cedia. What do you say? Cedia, right?
Cedia,
Cedia.
Yep. Custom Electronics Design and Installation Association.
Now, you're not a home theater installer.
No. I'm a member of the press, or the press corps, and this is actually probably a more important show to my segment than even CES, because it's more concentrated on home theater. Now, there's also a lot of other stuff here, like home automation, central HVAC systems, even central vacuum cleaning systems.
You got to get into that stuff now. This is your mandate from the peoples.
Yeah. No, I'm focused on audio and video, particularly for home theater, although there are a number of very high-end audio demonstrations being done here as well. I'm here with my colleague, Mark Henninger. He's covering more audio. I'm covering more video.
So what are you seeing?
Well, this show is one of the primary themes, and it's a huge one, is, like we talked about last week, Dolby Atmos, which is this new sound format for home theaters. It's been in the commercial theaters for a couple of years. It adds speakers overhead, so you can either mount actual speakers on your ceiling, or you can have these what are called Atmos-enabled speakers, which have an extra speaker on the top of them. They sit on your floor like normal speakers, but they aim the overhead sounds up to the ceiling, and then that gets reflected back down, and it sounds like you're listening to sounds from overhead. And the purpose is to get this three-dimensional sound field, not only around you, like 5.1 or 7.1, but also above you. And there are no less than 12 companies demonstrating this system here at the show. It's quite amazing.
You are an Atmos fan. Now, I've never seen it. You heard it, I should say. You could hear it in some theaters if they're if you're going to the movies.
Yes.
Look for the Atmos logo, and you can...
Exactly. The Dolby.com has a theater finder on their website where you can go and put in your zip code or whatever, and it'll tell you where the nearest Atmos theaters are. And I do recommend seeking them out if you can, because it really is a significant improvement in the sound of a movie, the immersion. And as many people say, sound is at least 50% of the movie-going experience. Some people say it's more. And when you get into this three-dimensional sound field, it's really quite remarkable. Well, we heard a demo in the Dolby booth where they switched back and forth between what they call flat 7.1, that is a regular array of surround speakers around you, like many people have, and then they switched in the overheads, and the difference is clear and remarkable. And we had a special demo for AVS forum members Thursday night, and boy, a lot of them came out of there going, okay, let's see, how can I afford these extra speakers, and how can I convince my wife that I'm going to put speakers on the ceiling?
Yeah, it doesn't, I think this is icing on the cake. It's a pretty tasty cake, but if you really want to go for it, how much you think would be conservatively? You got to either get. Well, you're definitely getting new speakers, either getting up-firing speakers or speakers to put on your ceiling.
Yes.
And then you're getting a new receiver, an AV receiver, because it has to decode Atmos.
Correct.
Is Atmos built into Blu-ray playback?
Yes, it's totally compatible with current Blu-ray playback, so you don't need a new Blu-ray player.
So it would be you'd choose the Dolby decoding in the Blu-ray. Actually,
no. You would choose the Atmos soundtrack on the Blu-ray disc.
Do all Blu-rays have an Atmos soundtrack?
No, none do yet, but they're coming. The first one was announced here at the show. Unfortunately, not my favorite movie. It's a Transformers: Age of Extinction.
It's not about the movie. It's about sound coming from over your head, my friends.
Exactly, yes.
Who cares if it's a good movie? Is that helicopter over your head or not? That's what I want to know.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know how we have survived all this time with helicopters coming from in front of you or behind you, but never above you.
Well, I will ask you to make that same statement after you've gone and heard an Atmos movie.
I mean, Independence Day, Will Smith, he destroys the aliens using an HP tablet or whatever it was. Maybe it was a MacBook Pro. Actually, it wasn't. It was one of the older. It was a PowerBook. And when the aliens fall from the sky, now they'd actually fall from the sky.
Yes, exactly. Well, like I said, it increases the sense of immersion tremendously. So,
And, if it's a bad movie and you're really immersed in it, what could be wrong with that?
Like I said, I'm not real happy. Yeah,
this Transformers movie is terrible, but boy, I'm immersed in it.
Yeah. I mean, when Gravity comes out,
Gravity would be a good example, right? Because Gravity really is a 360-degree experience.
Absolutely, and the Atmos soundtrack. I went and heard that in Atmos in the theater, and man, oh man, that was super effective. It just made you feel like you were floating in outer space, which is exactly what they wanted to do.
All right. People are saying, Leo, until you try it, how can you complain? Because I'll tell you how I can complain. You're telling people to spend thousands of dollars so sounds will come from above them, and their whole life is going to be so much better.
Well, it doesn't have to be thousands of dollars, first of all.
Wait a minute, though. Well, let's think about this. I got to get a new AV receiver. How much is that?
You're talking about $1,000 there, probably.
Okay, and it's no good unless I get either new front speakers or new above me speakers. How much is that going to be?
Well, that's not entirely true. You can buy what are called little modules and set them on top of or near your speakers, so you don't have to replace your speakers at all. Just buy these little
up-firing. And how much are the up-firing modules?
Probably a couple $100.
Okay, each or the two of them?
No, but maybe two of them, maybe $100 or $200 for each of them.
And then, well, I'm not done yet because those you don't have to install though, right? You just take some wire and from your and you just add.
It just takes extra wire. That's all.
Is there so the receiver? Does it have a extra hole for the for the ceiling speaker?
No. The receiver all it does is it takes HDMI data from the.
Yeah, I understand that, but it has to have another set of speaker wires, right?
Correct.
Oh, it does. Okay,
does.
That's what I meant by extra hole. That's probably that's how it's we amateurs describe it.
Well, yeah, it does have to have extra amplification for those extra speakers, and 4 more wires. You need to run 4 more wires and have an Atmos receiver.
All of that's not going to do anything unless you watch a Transformers movie at the moment.
Well, at the moment. I think within the next month or two, there have been over 150 movies mixed in Atmos, and you can bet the studios are going to be releasing those on Blu-ray in a hustle and a hurry.
I'm excited.
They possibly can.
As soon as the Woody Allen movies come out with up-firing sound, I am in the market. I can't wait. It's good if you know what if you watch a lot of action. Obviously, it's action movies, right?
Yes. That certainly is one major thing that it's.
I don't think Ingmar Bergman called for a downward firing sound.
No, I suppose not.
In the Seventh Seal, death is coming from above. Oh my God!
No, it's for blockbusters, but I mean, Gravity wasn't exactly sort of.
That was a cerebral movie. It was a good movie,
and it was very, very effective.
Yeah. I couldn't tell if George Clooney was dead or alive. It was very confusing. He's in there. But wait a minute, Hey, Scott Wilkinson, you know where you can find him? avsforum.com. Next week, let's talk about the results of your blind test of the high-res music, because I think you've got the results. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We'll take your calls right after this. Yeah. You put the speaker wire in the hole, the above hole. Or is it a ceiling hole? All right, Scott. I'm sorry. I'm giving you a hard time. It feels like this is really, I'm sure it's wonderful, but for a home install, I guess if you're installing a home theater, you want to have sound above you.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. Well, just by the fact that there are 12 companies doing Atmos demos here. And
well, it's the same thing with 3D. These guys are just trying to get you to buy new gear.
Well, that's true. That is true. But even the jaded AVS members, there are many, many AVS members here at the show, and even they are coming out of Dolby Atmos demos going, wow, how I need to do this.
People are trolling the hell out of me saying, Leo hates what he fears and fears what he... Come on. I would guess I'm with about 99.5% of the audience who says, really? You want me to buy new stereos so I can hear from speakers from above? This is a specialty item.
Well, it's for enthusiasts. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And the other thing I was going to tell you about here on the video front is there's a ton of laser projectors. Frickin' lasers.
Yeah, we talked about laser. So that's a superior thing for projecting, you think?
It is. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Epson's got one here. I couldn't talk about it last week. I knew about it, but I was under embargo. It's under $8,000. Lasts for up to 30,000 hours.
That's the big deal, is the bulb doesn't go out as fast.
Exactly.
But it doesn't last forever. That's interesting.
No, it doesn't. And once it's gone, you can't replace that laser engine. But 30,000 hours. Listen, if you watch 4 hours a day, 365 days a year, that's 7 years of use. And most people, they might watch 4 hours a day.
Honey, don't watch so much TV. We've got to keep the laser functioning. Does it dim like an LED before it dies, or is it full bright until it dies?
Well, actually, what I was told was that it actually, the brightness falls off very, very gradually. And that 30,000 hours is to half brightness. It's not to complete failure. So, but it's very, very gradual, but relatively linear. Unlike bulbs, which fall off a bit at first, and then they plateau for a long time, and then they drop off very fast.
Right.
So there is a bit of a difference there. But there's one laser projector here that has actually achieved what I didn't think was possible, which is a much, much wider color gamut known by the number 2020.
That's exciting. To me, that is a significant deal.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about 2020.
Yeah, exactly. And no, I've never seen a display do it before, and this is the first one, and it looks fantastic.
Can you tell?
Oh, absolutely.
But now you need movies shot in 2020, or at least, yeah.
Correct. And this content that I saw was not graded or shot in 2020. Yeah. It was expanded.
Oh, interesting.
Artificially expanded.
But it still looked better.
I thought it looked great. Yeah, absolutely.
So what we're talking about is what's called the color gamut, the number of colors it can display. And no display, even a really high quality display, does the full range of colors that you can see.
Right.
And TV, the gamut is fairly more restricted than, say, a computer monitor. But 2020 is a much closer to is it maximum gamut?
Well, it doesn't. It still doesn't encompass everything the eye can see.
Right.
But it's much larger than what we're used to today. Yeah. And you know what the weird thing is? The laser projector wasn't the one that was doing 2020. It was an LED illuminated projector. I found that very interesting as well.
Hey, I got to run, Scott. Thank you.
All right, my pleasure.
Take care. Thanks. Really appreciate it. I'm the owner of a lonely speaker. I'm going to glue it to my ceiling, and then sounds will come from above. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. It's so funny. There's most of you, I think, understand that really the guiding light of the home theater industry is by hook or by crook to get you to buy a new TV and stereo. Because most of us are just going, it looks good, sounds good. I kept the last TV for 25 years. Can I please keep this one for a few more years? And it's killing the industry. HDTV manufacturers are going bankrupt. It's killing the industry, and so they're desperate to get you back in the store. And that's why they came up with 3D. Didn't work. And you know they're going to find something that will get you back into the store to buy a new home theater system, whether it's 4K or anyway. And there's most of you I think understand that, and then there's a small group of people who are very vocal, and I see them in the chat room, who really think that I should just say every new technology, no matter what, is great, and you should all run out and buy it because it's great. Your life is not complete without the newest shiny thing. And I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. It's a terrible thing. And it's gotten, by the way, if you were to do that, you would be broke right now. I don't care how much money you have. The consumer electronics industry has a limitless supply of crap you can buy that you don't need, you don't really want, and you won't use after tomorrow. So please do yourself a favor. Just a little bit of, I don't know, a little impulse control. I know it's hard for us geeks. I see this with the iWatch. I really see, or the Apple Watch. I see people go, finally, Apple has found the Holy Grail. No, they haven't solved it. It's still a dumb thing. I don't think people really, at smartwatches, we haven't quite figured it out yet. I remain convinced that there is something there. But I don't see anything that you should run out and spend $350, let alone $1,000 on. All right, we do have time for phone calls. I apologize. We've been talking this whole hour, gassing on, and here you are waiting to get on the air. Who should I? Kim Schaffer's been lining up the calls, and I apologize, Kim.
How about Mike in Portland, Oregon?
Mike in Portland.
He's just got his first tablet, and he thinks he's a bit of a dinosaur with technology, so he needs some app suggestions.
This is an example where the industry makes you feel guilty if you don't get it or you don't like it. It's like, oh, how could you not like it? Everybody likes tablets. Is that how you feel, Mike? Thank you, Kim.
I'm doing good, but let me correct just one little thing. I'm in Maine, Portland, Maine.
This is Mike from Portland, Maine, and I know Mike very well. Mike is a how would you describe yourself, Mike? You're not a Luddite.
I would come close to that.
But you're skeptical. You're skeptical.
Well, I was going to comment on the Apple iWatch. You know, I have my grandfather's watch that seems to be in perfect shape and runs fine, and I have his father's watch that's also in perfect shape and runs fine. If I buy the Apple Watch, how long is that going to last me?
Well, it's going to be obsolete for sure, as everything is in the consumer electronics. Within a year or two, there'll be the next Apple Watch, and people will say, "Oh, you got to have that." It would be you're at this point. It's so early days on these things. I look at them. I have not yet played with the Apple Watch, so I'm speaking a little out of turn. I should wait till February and try it when it comes out, and I will. But I just feel like, just on the face of it, what I've seen of it. It looks fiddly. It looks like, and you're absolutely right. It's not a watch. For a lot of us right now, is a timeless piece of jewelry. It's an heirloom, and for the rest of us, it's unnecessary because I have my phone and I can see what time it is, and there's not a lot in between.
No, it's designed obsolescence is what it is. Yeah, there's some handy features on it, and it sounds great. You know,
handy, really? The ability to send your heartbeat to somebody, is that handy, really?
If I'm in love, it might be.
You know, I'm in love, and I don't think I'm going to do it. Here, dear, this is my heartbeat. Uh-huh. Okay. Would you stop vibrating my wrist? I'm trying to work here.
Exactly.
Maybe I'm old, you know. Maybe if you're 16 and in love, that's a great... that's what I'm saying. It's Japanese schoolgirls are going to love this watch.
Absolutely.
Love this watch.
And you can't be old, Leo. We're the same age.
Yeah, well, we're old. I hate to tell you. In that case, you're old. So what can I do for you, Mike?
Well, speaking of losing relatives and stuff, unfortunately, I lost my uncle, but he was given a Kindle, and it was a Kindle HD Fire, never used it, and I got it now, and it's my first tablet. And so I managed to install the One Mobile Market and can get a couple of things on there, and I got a few apps, but I'm wondering if there's any special launch pads. I'm kind of having trouble figuring things out with it.
No, so here's the deal with Amazon. They use Android, but they don't want to use the Google Play Store. They want to use the Amazon Store, and that's the app store that you use. And that means they can't use that. They have to customize the interface. It has to look different. And so they've customized it in a way that I think appeals to some, but it's not a great user interface. You know, you have that big carousel with giant icons, and it's just the things you've done lately. And then it's hard to find the other stuff. And I'm not crazy about the UI. Apparently I'm not alone because they put it on the Amazon Fire Phone as well. And nobody's buying this thing. They're giving it away now for 99 cents. I bought it for, I don't even want to think about what I paid for this thing.
Well, you know, I've been able to work around some of that. Again,
The Kindle Fire is good. Here's what you should use this tablet for, because this is what it's for. Kindle books, you know, and it's audio and text, right? So you could, if you listen to books, you can listen and read, and you could pick up where you left off in either format. So it's great for books because it's Amazon, and it's great for Amazon movies and TV shows. You know, if you have Amazon Prime, there's a lot of free stuff, and then you can buy additional stuff. It's a media consumption tablet. If you think of it that way, you won't be disappointed.
Well, I have managed, you know, to get on. I got Chrome on there. I got Yahoo Messenger on there.
Wow.
There's a couple of ways around it. There's a.
You're hacking that thing.
Well, it's an app called One Mobile Market that you're able to download things from, you know, that seem to work and seem to work.
Well, and this is why I don't generally recommend the Kindle Fire tablet for people, because that's what people want. They want to go out and get the other stuff that Amazon doesn't offer, like that.
Well, the price was right on this one.
Hey, you got it for free. It's you know what, the hardware is great. It's very, I'm not sure, you said, is it the HDX, the latest Fire tablet?
No, it's just the HD Fire.
All right, it's okay. The screen on the new one is better than any other screen out there. I mean, it's a really good screen, and and it should be, because you're watching movies on it. Sounds pretty good. Yeah, it's fine. It's free.
Anything special I should do with it or try to get on it?
Like I said, I think, to me, you know, you put Netflix on it, you put the Amazon store on it, you put the Kindle on it, you put Amazon movies on it, and it's a consumption device. Since you've been able to get a Google store on there, it sounds like, then maybe there are some good calendar apps. I don't know, you use calendaring. Sunrise is so much better than the Amazon calendar app. I highly recommend Sunrise. You can, if you want to make phone calls from that, you can. I think Viber is available for the Amazon store, Viber. And that is an internet phone calling service that's quite popular, very inexpensive overseas calls. And it would turn that into a big phone.
Oh, great.
That's kind of nice. Yeah. If you don't already have Audible, if you're not an Audible Books listener, Audible is a great app. And I think it comes with Audible, but if it doesn't, that's an easy download. Audible's an Amazon company. And then with your Kindle books, you get a deal on the text. I'm reading the Goldfinch right now, and it's really great, but every once in a while I just want to read. It's at night, I want to just read, so I read the Kindle book, and then it picks up with the audio when I get in the car the next morning. It's nice.
Sounds great. You got time for one more quick comment?
Sure.
About Dolby Atmos, and I heard Scott rave about it last week and heard him rave about it this week. It seems to be the kind of thing that's designed for cartoons. And when I say cartoons, I mean anything that's CGI.
Yeah.
It is. It'll be fun.
It's a special effect device.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Well, that's why I pointed out, I don't think Woody Allen's movies are going to come in Atmos sound. Because
Probably not.
No. Unless there's a big hammer coming down. Clonk. But that's about it. Hey, Mike, thank you for the call. Always good to talk to you. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We're going to take a little break. Come back with more right after this. And I guess the same thing for the iPhone. Unless you need a new phone. I think people we talk to people a lot who've been waiting for the new iPhone, like have a 2-year-old phone or a 3-year-old phone or an 8-year-old phone. And I think your wait was justified. I think there's a lot of things in this new iPhone that are going to be very nice, including the touch to pay and the fingerprint. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy, talking about computers and the internet and home theater and digital photography and all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. Chris Marquardt, our photo guy, will join us in about half an hour and talk about cameras and stuff. You know, the Apple's timing on the Apple Pay thing is pretty good if you think about it. But with the Target breach, now this Home Depot breach, and now, according to a Home Depot employee, Home Depot wasn't even encrypting the data about you that it had on its servers, the data that was apparently stolen by hackers. People are starting to say, Josh, you know, I don't want these companies to have all this information. I love the convenience of using a credit card. But it seems to be that's a risk, a vulnerability. Now here in the U.S., the credit card companies bear the brunt, and the banks bear the brunt of the fraud. Right? You don't have to pay that money if it's fraudulent. I think and there's a limit of what, $50 on an ATM card. So you're kind of protected, and that's one of the reasons we have the system we have, because consumers are, you know, not really worried about it. You give your credit card to an employee at a restaurant, a waiter, and he or she wanders off with it for 5 minutes and comes back. You don't go, oh, my goodness, what have they done? Because, you know, even if they stole the number or bought themselves a pair of chinchilla boots, you're not liable. The credit card company is going to pay it back. So the pressure to fix all this doesn't come from us. I think, you know, if you ask people, Apple tried to show a video. Oh, it was so hard getting the credit card out of the wallet, and then they asked for a driver's license, and she had to reach in her purse. And there were Tic Tacs in the way, and the horror. And then they show, but with Apple Pay, you just tap your phone and press the fingerprint button, and you're good to go. And the truth is, the phone was there with the Tic Tacs. So you had to dig in and get the phone too. They just didn't show that part. It's not that different. And I don't think consumers are saying in mass, oh, please. This using of credit cards or cash, it's too hard. I need something easier. You know who's saying it is the banks, the companies that are you know, getting in trouble, that are losing money because of fraud. That's where the pressure is coming. And Apple has signed up, you know, the big credit card companies, many of the big, not all, but many of the big retailers. Walmart, for instance, and CVS say, no, we're not going to use any Apple Pay. We got our own system. And this is part of the problem, is there are going to be many different systems. You won't just be able to walk into any store or any restaurant anytime and tap your phone to it. It's not going to be that way, because half the people in America don't even have an iPhone. So it's not a universal system by any means. So it's still just going to be a little bit of a mess. But the thing that argues in favor of the Apple Pay is you don't, the restaurant, the store doesn't have any of your personal information. All they get is an encrypted token and a one-time use credit card number that's not good again. So even if they saw the number, they couldn't use it, and they get no personal information. And you don't have to show a driver's license because you've got the fingerprint ID. Again, this is only if you have an iPhone 6 or 6 Plus. Oh, that's clever. And only if the store supports it, et cetera, et cetera. So I think with these breaches, the Target breach and this latest Home Depot breach, there is some awareness and some interest in something that's more secure and private, but not a lot of pressure from consumers because we know it doesn't cost us anything. You know, it doesn't really cost. I guess it does ultimately, doesn't it? Because it may show up in the price, but right now it's the banks and the credit card companies and the stores that have to pay the freight on this. Of course, then there's this other issue, which is, you know, last week Apple got in a little bit of hot water about data breaches. And I've talked to some people who are a little worried about putting their photos in iCloud, putting their stuff in iCloud. And and of course, this whole system relies on us trusting Apple. Do you trust Apple? Do you trust them a little less after these nude photos were leaked out? Would you trust him with all your financial stuff? I don't know. 8888, ask Leo. That's the phone number. Wendy's on the line from Yorba Linda, California, our next caller. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm well, Wendy. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
So, are you in the market for a new shiny?
Not necessarily. I just want a good workie.
Smart. See, I think people are smart. I think some of us, the geeks, get, Apple's got a new thing, worship at the shrine. But most people go, well, let me see if I can, if it's useful, if it's something I need. Will it help me in my life? That's fair.
Right. And it's mostly no shiny for my mom or other elderly people, I'm thinking. They just need something that works.
Well, let me tell you, my mom, who's 80, I don't want to make her too old. I think she's 81. Sorry, Mom.
You're getting her a new iPhone.
Well, yeah. So here's the deal with Mom. She's had everything, of course, because her son's the tech guy. So she's used Windows 2000. She has an iMac on her desk. She has a Apple PowerBook on her desk. But when I gave her the iPad, that was it. She loves the iPad. I did, and I don't tell her, but I did a little experiment. And because of her age, her eyesight's not as good. So I gave her a Galaxy Note 3. It's a really big phone. Actually, it was a 2. And she liked that because she could read it easily. It had a stylus. She could draw on it. She likes to do sketches. But I don't know if Android was really her thing. She's used to the iPad. So when I said, I could get you the new iPhone, it's the same size screen, she jumped. She said yes. She was very happy. So that's one person, but I can tell you right now, are you thinking about something for your mom?
Yes.
I think the iPad, now, there is a rumor.
She's not very techy. She's not that.
No, that's why it's perfect. A computer's a terrible idea for most people, not just seniors, but for most people. It's too complicated, too much maintenance, too much effort. Geeks love them. The enthusiasts love them. Real people, a tablet is often the best choice.
Great. And does it have Siri?
It does.
Question is, does it have voice control so she can say, hey, call my daughter, or I want to play, how about I want to play solitaire, or...
She'll have to learn the Siri syntax.
Okay.
And yes, but you can open apps. I think they've added that now. Now, here's one thing you might want to wait. There will be, we expect, no one knows, but we expect another Apple announcement next month of new iPads.
Okay.
And one of the rumors, which would be really good for your mom, is a 12.9-inch iPad. That's going to be great for people with low vision, poor vision, or just who... this is what I don't like about the watch. The watch is so tiny. You got to fiddle with it. You want something with big buttons. And that's what the iPad is. And for games like solitaire, awesome. My mom plays Words with Friends. She plays, she loves the word games on there, and it's really great for that. And a 12.9-inch would be even better.
Now, will it do the same thing like books and audio books like Kindle will?
Absolutely. Yeah. In fact, they have the Kindle. Amazon makes the Kindle app available and Audible app available. In fact, my mom loves audiobooks. In fact, when I gave her a Kindle, she flipped because it was hard for her to read the type in regular books. She'd stopped reading, and she loves to read. The big type on the Kindle, she loved it. She could read again. And then when she found audiobooks, that was it. She listens to audiobooks. She knits and listens to audiobooks all day.
Right, that's what I'm thinking. The audiobooks are great. You can make the type bigger on things. That's why I like it, because I love my Kindle, but she wants to do a little bit more. So
I think an iPad is perfect. If you want to get it now, go ahead and get the iPad Air. That's a 9-inch tablet. But I do think they're going to do a bigger one. If they announce a bigger one, it will be next month. So you might wait a month and see.
I'm hoping not to spend that much. We can, I guess, because she's not really going to do a lot of surfing. She's not.
Well, does she have internet now? Does she have internet?
No. No, she used to, but she doesn't do internet anymore.
Okay, so you're gonna have to get one with a built-in internet connection, a LTE connection. Okay. And that'll cost a monthly fee of about $20 because you've got to pay for the internet. If she's going to use the internet, I think she'll want to. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, Mom said, well, does the iPhone has Ravelry? Actually, anything that has Ravelry, which is her. Maybe that's the app. Maybe it's a Ravelry app. It's the knitting site she uses, and it has Letterpress, which is the word game she loves, and it's not on Android. And I said, yes, Mom. She says, oh, I can't wait. How's the camera? It's really good, Mom. I can't wait. My folks are afraid of the internet, but are bound and determined to check their lottery numbers on a daily basis. Got them a Chromebook. Set them up as a supervised user. Came with free T-Mobile. Yeah, that's nice. For 200 megabytes a month, but that's probably enough to check lotto numbers. I think a Chromebook's a great choice if you need a keyboard. I really do. I'm waiting because imminently we're going to see larger screen, touch screen Chromebooks. That'll be a little more money, a little bit better. Mike B's dad is 81, and he's getting the 6 Plus, as his mom. She's getting the 6 Plus on Sprint with 128 gigs so that she can put all her audio books on it. A liquid. Yeah, what happened to sapphire and liquid metal? The rumor mill missed a little on that, didn't it? Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo. What is the saying that the cobbler's kids have don't have shoes, have no shoes? My daughter is now in the chat room asking for tech help. I gave my daughter a pair of computer speakers, powered computers. She wanted some speakers for the dorm room. She's in college. And and she doesn't have a lot of room. So Audio Engine, which I love a lot, not a sponsor, but I do love their speakers a lot. They make a little powered pair of audio speakers. The Audio Engine, I think they're the 2 Plus. So I got them for her, and she said, "Dad, you're going to have to come set these up. They've got wires and speaker wire. People in her generation never saw speaker wire in their life. What is this speaker? What is this?" She says, "There's bare wire in here." I said, "Yeah, that's the speaker wire." She said, "What's that for?" I said, "I'll come down and I'll install it." And now she's saying she's had a problem because she's installed some paintbrush software and now she can't use Google Chrome. I'm a little worried about. She's on a Mac, but you know, one of the if you're gonna give somebody a computer, or somebody you know is going to get a computer, or you yourself are not super technically literate and you don't want to be, but you need to use a computer for work, strong advice is, and they don't make it easy, but is to not use the computer as an administrator, but to use it as a limited user or a normal user. Depends on the operating system. Some versions of Windows call it a limited user, some versions standard user. On the Macintosh, I think it's just standard user. You uncheck the administrator box. You do need an administrator account on all computers. So what I suggest you do when you get a new computer to set up, or if you want to set up your computer now, is create an account with administrator privileges, but also use an account that has, and your day-to-day use should be an account without administrator privileges. Why? Well, the administrator of your computer has powers far beyond that of mortal men. And powers to do bad things to your computer. And the real problem is if you're surfing around on your computer and you accidentally download malware, something bad on your computer, that malware has exactly the same privileges you do, whatever those are. So now your malware is a super user, is a power user. That's not good. It means it can erase stuff, it can encrypt stuff, it can install stuff, and you don't want that. So if you're normally just a limited user, a standard user surfing around, the malware, you download it, it tries to install something, and then it gives you, and your computer will say, "Hey, you can't install this without the administrator password." That's your warning. Oh boy, something wrong here. And so this is a very useful tool. I saw some research that said something like 94% of Internet Explorer or browser exploits would be eliminated on Windows if people just didn't run as an administrator. That 94% of the exploits, the bad stuff out there, just wouldn't work. So Abby, I'm a little worried that you installed something. I should have set you up as a standard user. I apologize. I'll be down later after the show. I have some splaining to do. Heather on the line from Denver. Hi, Heather. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo. Thank you very much for taking my call. I've been a long-time listener and used to love Jumping Monkeys.
Oh, yeah. That was a podcast we did on food, geek food, junk food. Boy, was that fun, but I got so fat we had to discontinue it.
We loved it. We loved it.
Fun.
Hey, I have a question for you. I homeschool my 2 daughters. They're in 4th grade and kindergarten.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we have been given the opportunity to do a group buy for some laptops.
Excellent.
Fellow homeschoolers.
Excellent.
So, yeah, so I wanted to first find out from you, it's through Notebooks for Students. Is that a trustworthy company? Would you recommend them?
I don't know them.
Okay.
This makes sense, but now here's, you know, what a lot of educators now are doing is not buy, I presume these are Windows machines.
They have some Apple as well, which was going to be my next question.
Okay, well, Apple's good too, but for computers for kids, especially those ages, Chromebooks might be the best choice.
Oh, okay.
So let me tell you a little bit about that. You know, we're all used to the idea of a computer has an operating system, and the choices are Windows, OS 10 from Apple. Some people go and Linux, which is a small but devoted portion of the audience. That's a free operating system. But Google has made a Linux-based operating system that is really just a browser. It's the Chrome browser. Okay. You can only do the things in the browser that you would do in a normal browser. Surf the net, get email. You can add extensions, and because it's so heavily used in Chrome, there are a lot of appropriate school extensions. But if you're homeschooling, you may have a curriculum that comes with some software that has to run on Windows. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's going to be then you're going to have to get the computer that runs that software.
Okay. Okay. So what would you recommend brand-wise? We have an option of Dell, HP, Lenovo, and Apple.
Boy, now Apple will not run any Windows programs. So the programs you need to use Windows, or do they both come on Mac and Windows?
It must be Mac and Windows because I have an Apple computer and I can run it on mine.
Perfect. I think a Mac is a better choice, mostly because you're not going to be prone to the Mac. There's something like 100,000 malware exploits for Windows, and there's only a handful for the Mac. Okay. So from a security point of view, I think a Mac is a better choice. Okay. And a lot of Macs are used in education. So, there's good support for Macs in education.
Okay. Okay, great. And would you
It's more expensive. It's a lot more expensive.
It is.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be 50. Well, I don't know what kind of discount you're getting, but it won't be the same on a Mac that would be on a Windows machine.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I'm looking at the prices here. It's about double the...
Yeah. Double. Wow.
Others. What do you think about the Mac? Like the cheapest Mac that they're offering is the MacBook 13 2.1.
Yeah, that's a basic plastic body, very durable. That's fine for a kid, especially the grades you mentioned. Frankly, a Windows machine would be too. But I just hate you're going to have to become a Windows IT expert to use it, especially since you use a Mac now.
Exactly.
I buy my kids Macs for school. I always have.
Okay. Okay. So would you feel like that would be a good starter for them?
If you can afford it, yeah. If you can afford it. I mean, twice as much is a lot. I mean, otherwise, Dell, Lenovo, excellent. Don't recommend HP so much. But Dell and Lenovo, top of the line. Get the business class machines, not the consumer class. Basically, that's what it is with the Apple, is they don't make a cheap computer. They only make high-end computers. If you buy a high-end Dell or a high-end Lenovo, it's roughly the same cost. The half-price Dell and Lenovo you're looking at are consumer-grade computers. They're cheesy. On the other hand, a fourth grader, what do they know?
Right, exactly.
I worry more about your need if you've got Windows machines to become an IT pro, become a security pro. I don't know if you want to do that.
Yeah, not so much. It might be a better choice to just buy one Apple that they can share.
That's fine. At that age, that's fine. The reason a lot of schools use Chromebooks, besides the fact that they're very inexpensive, is you can't put games on them.
Oh, got it.
So it really discourages kids from, sitting in class playing Minecraft.
Exactly.
Do your kids play Minecraft?
They do not yet. No.
Actually, I've come around on Minecraft because, games can be a complete waste of time. Minecraft is like Lego for this generation. This is how they build. And I think a little supervised Minecraft wouldn't be a bad thing for that age.
Okay, good to know. Thank you so much for the help.
I'm glad to hear it. Thank you. Take care, Heather. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Make them share. It's good for them. It should be Chris, but I don't know. I haven't seen him in the chat.
Johnny's behind you.
It's Johnny Jet. I'm confused. So Chris is on Sundays? Okay, never mind. Johnny Jet is next. Hi, Johnny.
How you doing?
Are you still in Cancun?
I am.
Looked like fun. Congratulate Natalie on her talk.
Man, you're good.
I'm
There
so
goes my
jealous.
view.
Oh, man.
Not too shabby.
Is the weather nice in Cancun?
It poured yesterday. I think it was yesterday, and today is hot. Hot.
Hot, hot, hot.
Like 90, 87 probably.
Wow. How did Abby get in the chat room? That is so funny. I didn't even think she knew there was a chat room. And she's worked here. I guess she probably does.
Actually, I'll put this on.
Oh yeah, get your Cancun hat on.
Well, I just keep looking at my head. I can't believe how bald I am.
Now see, now you look like a homie. You look like a homeboy. Like you look like
I can't wear it. I just
Actually, when you wear the cap backwards, you look a little bit like Eminem.
This is gonna be me in maybe.
I know.
For a couple days.
I thank the Lord I have a full head of hair every day.
Gosh, I look at myself and can't even recognize myself.
But I could do this, and then pretty much I look like you. So. I do have a receding hairline. I feel like I look like. Make it so, number 2.
Oh, that's good stuff.
My dad has all his hair at 81, but
my dad's 85. Yeah. He's got more.
It's not what your dad. It's your mom that matters.
I know, he didn't have much hair.
Your maternal grandfather is bald, and you're in trouble.
I got you. I'm not supposed to go much farther back if I look like him.
Yeah. Well, I had Dr. Drew on Triangulation on Monday. Nice. We were talking about addiction, and he said almost in every case, I've worked with thousands and thousands of addicts. All but one had an immediate family member that had an addiction problem. He says it's very clearly genetic. And I said, Drew, is there a family alive that doesn't have at least one alcoholic or one? I mean, this is normal. This is how we are, right?
That's true. I don't know.
My dad's father died when my dad was 17 of alcoholism, of cirrhosis. So, but he said immediate. He said it's got to be like immediate bloodline, like mother, father, sister, brother. I think it's the same with hair. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. He's Johnny Jet, flying off in a big old jet airliner. Every time we talk to Johnny Jet, our technology travel guy, he's in another town, another place. You were in Connecticut last week. Where are you today? Somewhere exotic?
I am. I'm in Cancun, Mexico, attending the TBEX conference.
What's the TMEX conference?
TBEX, sorry. Travel Bloggers Exchange.
Oh. So it's you and a bunch of travel bloggers. You're a travel blogger, right?
Well, I'm kind of a travel publisher, but I've been around way before the word blogger was coined.
Really? I didn't know that. So JohnnyJet.com, which isn't exactly, it's not a blog in the sense it's more like a travel magazine, right?
Well, the newsletter is, but I have a website. So I just say, these days people like use the word blogger, but I think blogger was coined around 2004.
Yeah, I
started my newsletter in 95.
Yeah, I don't like blogger, and don't tell them this. But I don't like blogger and I don't like podcaster because it diminishes it. It sounds like, oh, yeah, it's his little toy hobby that you do in your basement in your jammies.
Right.
And I think most of the people there, I bet you, it's a living. It's their job.
Not most of them. There's 500 people here.
Oh, all right. So there's 10 people who make a living
100.
doing it and 490 people who wish they could make a living doing it.
Well, almost those numbers.
Yeah, close to that.
But you do. And my wife was speaking. She was speaking with Pinterest about Pinterest and how to drive traffic to your website. And that was really interesting. And I was here because GoGo In-Flight Internet brought me down to do a pop-up Twitter chat today. And actually, they're in the news. That's over this morning, yeah. But they're in the news today because they're offering in-flight Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi, and in-flight texting with T-Mobile. It just came out yesterday.
I saw that. That's exciting. T-Mobile.
And that's great.
John Ledger at T-Mobile was just saying, we're really in the clouds.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Listen, I do not get paid a dime by T-Mobile, but I have T-Mobile because when you travel internationally, you get free data.
We talked about that. When I ordered my iPhone, I'm getting a T-Mobile iPhone because we're going to London at the end of the month, and I'm going to try this. I'm not going to buy a data plan.
It's slow. It's slow.
But I don't mind slow. I just don't want a $10,000 bill when I get back, and I've had multi-thousand-dollar bills after.
No,
traveling.
You will not get a bill.
Okay.
I've been to London a few times this year. I'm actually going to be back there in a couple weeks, I think. So,
and also a fan in London, a couple of fans in London work for some carrier there, and they're going to give me a little MiFi, one of those cards.
It's even better.
Because it's like 4G as we travel around, but it's a Wi-Fi access point, so we can have both phones use it. Good. And that should be good. That should because I like when I travel, I love my apps. I love to have my maps. I love to have Rick Steve's guidebook.
Then you're going to need data.
I want that.
Yeah, you're going to need that. But if you want to upload to Facebook or Twitter or just download your emails, you don't need a data plan. But if you want to be able to see the maps, where you're going and that stuff, you're going to need to upgrade.
I agree.
It's my experience.
But I love it. Venice. Normally, you start walking in Venice, you're going to get lost. I couldn't get lost because I had a map on my phone. And I said, help me, get me back to the phone. I said, turn left, turn left, turn right, turn left, turn left, and then you get all the way home.
But part of the fun of going to Venice
is getting lost. Yeah.
Yes.
Part of the fun of going to Vegas is losing everything.
No, that's
a different kind of Venice.
All right. Well, real quick, I got a deal. Virgin America came out yesterday. 20% off travel until October 18th. You got to book by today.
20% off.
So,
I love Virgin America.
And there's a promo code.
They got the disco balls at the gate. The purple lighting, the mood lighting.
Yes. But it's only for travel on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays.
Oh, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday.
From San Francisco, there's a deal to Puerto Rico on American, $364 round trip, including all taxes. Round trip. I mean, that's a good deal.
That's a good deal.
All right.
Puerto Rico is a fabulous place to visit. Highly recommend it.
It is. And actually, this next app that I have, you might want to bring down with you.
Oh,
so
tell me.
Have you heard of the Sonic Repeller?
No.
It's an anti-mosquito app. Now,
wait a minute. You mean you run this app and it plays a sound out of your phone that scares away mosquitoes?
Supposedly. So there's supposedly 3,500 known mosquitoes, and all the different species are different, and they react to different high-pitched noises. But this, to supposedly emit, a high-pitched noise that you really can't hear, and the mosquitoes can.
Does this let you choose the kind of mosquito?
Well, you can try different.
Oh, yeah, 14 kilohertz, 16 kilohertz, 20 kilohertz.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I tried all different ones when I was in Connecticut, and I did not find it to work. But
well, you know what really works? If you put it at 14 kilohertz, it chases teenagers away.
Well, I could hear it. I was like, do I have mosquito ears? Because I can hear the pitch.
Yeah, well, if you have a high enough pitch, well, you're young, see, but when you get to be my age, you could play these high-pitched sounds, and everybody's cringing in pain, and you're going, what is it? What's bothering you?
Well, I wish it worked, because going to these different countries, especially where there's malaria, I do not like taking anti-malaria medicine. It makes my stomach sick, even the Malarone, not just malaria.
Even though we're recommending this app, and by the way, it's a free app.
I'm not recommending it. I was actually curious to see if you ever heard of it or if any of your readers used it.
I haven't. Anybody listening to the show, have you used the Sonic Repeller anti-mosquito by the Pico Brothers?
Yeah.
It's not, by the way, it's a free, but there's a 99-cent pro version.
And there's a bunch of different anti-mosquito.
The pro version comes with DEET. That works.
I was just really hoping that it worked, because it'd be awesome to travel with.
Usually you have an app and a website. What's your website?
So actually, I can do a website, or I got a product.
Product? I'll take a product, as long as it's not that thing that keeps people from reclining their seat.
No, not the knee defender. The Panano ball camera. Panono. Have you heard of that?
Is this the one you throw up in the air?
Yes. With 36 little cameras.
This is the weirdest thing in the world.
But how great would that be to travel with around the world? You throw it up and you get 360 degrees views.
So it has cameras all around it. It looks like a ball, and you throw it, and then when it gets to the top, it takes a bunch of pictures, and then it gives you a 360-degree picture. How much is the Panono?
It's $549.
Ah!
I know it's crazy price, but I mean, if you travel a lot.
All right, I'm gonna make a deal. If Panono's listening, I'll take one to London if you lend it to me. I'm not buying that thing.
Well, I actually emailed them and asked them if they would let me try one while we return it as well, but I haven't heard back from them.
User takes picture, preview in Panono app. High-performance stitching and archiving, and then uploading, and then you could put it on your website or Flickr or Twitter or whatever. But you'd probably have to have some special software to view it, right? That's the problem with all of these things.
That is a problem with all of them.
You need special software.
They say 108 megapixels.
Whoa. 36 cameras. I guess that's, you know what? The price is not bad, considering you've got a ball with 36 cameras on it.
And if you drop the ball, it doesn't break. I'm for it.
So I think we reviewed it here. I think Father Robert, or one of our reviewers for we have a review show called Before You Buy, and I'm pretty sure we reviewed the Panono.
Okay, I gotta go Google that and find out what they recommended before I drop $549 on this thing.
It seems a lot of money. And how often are you going to use it, really?
Well, I would use it today in the pool, and I'm going to be at the beach. There's going to be some
hot ladies? Is that what you were about to say?
No, there's going to be a lot of Mexican food around.
That's it. I need this camera to take pictures of the food that's around me. Johnny, you're a married man, and your wife is with you. So
I know. I love my wife more than anything.
This is cool. This is interesting. Tell you what, I'll see if I should get one for London. Thing is, what are you going to do with this? You throw it up. You're going to carry it in your pocket, and then as you get, like I get to Winchester Cathedral and I throw the ball in the air, and then they throw me out.
They're banning all the drones. You can't fly drones.
This is better than a drone. Yeah.
So this way, you just throw it up. You don't have to worry about getting, a ticket or anything.
What happens if you don't catch it?
That's what I mean, look, I play baseball, so I'm a pretty good fielder, but I don't know.
I'll drop it one time in 5 for sure.
Yeah.
All right. The Panono. Yeah, Panono. The camera that has our recommendation built right into the name. Johnny Jet, JohnnyJet.com. I do recommend his website. Thanks, Johnny. Safe travels. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Panono. I don't know. If it were $150, I'd probably, I'd be real tempted. That's a lot of money.
So you brought up the knee defender.
Yes.
I could not recline my seat on the plane.
Somebody had a knee defender behind you?
I don't know if they did or not, but I was wondering if the airlines have just...
It's illegal. So here's Johnny's advice. If you have a problem with a knee defender, so first of all, you can tell if it's on there because it's a little clamp that goes on the struts of the tray table.
Well, I was wondering if they just stopped that mechanism on the plane altogether to not have...
No, some seats don't recline. I mean, you may have been on a non-reclining seat.
Yeah, my row didn't.
And the whole row didn't.
Me and the other girl next to me, we just tried it. We weren't actually going to recline, but we tried it and we couldn't.
Yeah, you probably were in an exit row or next to an exit row or in the back of the plane. Were you in the back of the plane?
It was like row 20.
Yeah, you were. You were in so if you're in front of an exit row, they won't let you recline because you'll block the exit row. So there are seats that don't recline. But if it was the whole row, it probably wasn't a whole row of knee defenders behind you.
And there was a drone flying over the pool at the Four Seasons.
Oh man, that's out of control.
He got grounded. I have a photo of it on my Facebook. But
I saw that on your page. Yeah.
Somebody, one of the security guys came and had him bring it down.
No drones over the pool, but your Panono is okay.
Panono is okay.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 88. Ask Leo the number. Neil is on the line from Phoenix, Arizona, on line 4. Hi, Neil.
Hi, Leo. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for hanging on. What can I do for you?
Okay. Well, with your advice, I have made several purchases based on your recommendations. The last thing I bought was a Nokia Icon, which I currently have, but I went the other day and ordered my iPhone 6 Plus from Verizon.
So the Icon is a Windows phone device. Was this your first Windows phone device?
Yes, it is.
And how did you like it?
I like the phone fine. It's a very high quality piece of hardware. Yeah. In the apps, I got most of the apps I would want. I didn't really have too much of a problem with that. But if it were just for that, I was happy with the phone. But I like what I see in the iPhone 6 Plus. The last iPhone I had was a 3GS, and I didn't care for that line.
Oh, they've come a long way, baby.
Right.
Yeah, the iPhone 6 Plus will be very much like the Nokia Icon. It's an excellent camera, optical image stabilization. It's maybe a little thinner than the Icon, but roughly that size.
Right.
I think that's a good. If you're an iPhone, if you want to get the best iPhone experience, I think you're on track there.
Right. So here's the problem I ran into. When I set the Icon up, I used to have all my contacts on Google because I had Android phones.
Right.
And that works fine. But when I transitioned to the Icon, I realized that I couldn't get Google to sync up properly with my contacts. Let's say I have the calendars on Google and I have the lost the word for it, calendars and mail on Google.
Oh, and mail.
But the contacts wouldn't sync up properly, so I had to copy them out of Google, if you will, and put them into MSN to get that to work. And now I've got a mess because now I'm going back to an iPhone environment.
This is, these companies want it to be difficult for you to move back and forth, don't they? I mean, it's in their interest. The interesting exception is Apple, which supports Google's system fairly well. So going back and forth from an Android to an iPhone, you shouldn't have any problem at all because in both cases, the phones will get your contacts from Google. This is all a huge improvement over the old days where when you get a new phone, you'd have to enter in your numbers. Which was a real pain.
Right, but the problem I have is that now I've got contacts on Google and on MSN they're not matched up anymore. I need to get them back to Google so I can get them all in one place.
So my advice, and I take this from Paul Thurrott, who's my Windows guru. My advice and his advice was before you get your Windows phone to attach all of your accounts to your Outlook account. Now you're using MSN.
Outlook.com.
Oh, you're using Outlook.com. Okay. So in Outlook.com, in your profile, you can have your various accounts attached. And I'm trying to remember. In fact, I'm actually looking at my Outlook account. Were you able to? I think you were able to synchronize your Google contacts with your. No. Oh, that's right. I remember now what I had to do. Okay, and this might work for you. I used Yahoo as an intermediary. So it looks like Windows Phone doesn't sync up with Google stuff. And this may be Google's fault. I'm not going to assign blame here. I know Google does not support Windows Phone very well. But you can get your contact list in from LinkedIn, Yahoo, or Facebook. And as I remember what I did, you can one-way import them. You do see this import from Google. But it's the export that you need now, right? You got them in, now you got to get them back out. My suggestion is to use either LinkedIn. Are you a LinkedIn user?
I've never used it before, no.
Yeah, both of these are free. You can sign up for LinkedIn. I would sign up for Yahoo and use their contacts. So what you can do is have Google sync to Yahoo and then Outlook sync to Yahoo. Get a clean contacts list. You might have to delete duplicates and then import and get that back over to Google, and now you're good. This is unfortunate because Windows Phone doesn't interoperate very well with Google. It's one of the main reasons I don't use Windows Phone day to day.
Right. And one quick thing about I just had a second quick question there. Is there a way to get the SMS messages and the call history out of the Windows Phone as well?
You're going to stay on Verizon?
Yes, I'm still on Verizon. I
think if you for one okay, a couple of things. When you get the new phone, you should be able to go into the Verizon store and they will transfer your data over for you. I believe they will do that. And for sure, you can call them and say, hey, can you get they have your SMSs. Normally, you wouldn't be able to get them. Once you've received an SMS, it's received on that phone and it will not go to the new phone. But you may be able to ask Verizon, hey, can you give me last month's SMSs on my new phone?
Well, that's a good idea. I thought of that.
Yeah. Otherwise, if there's like 2-year-old SMS text messages you want, you're going to have to export them in some fashion. Not sure exactly what to do there.
Right. Well, nothing is that old, but yeah, I could probably get some Verizon.
If you just want the last month or so, Verizon, I think you could just say, hey, can you resend my messages? They keep them. They're on their servers. I'm not sure what the time limitation is.
Okay. Well,
yeah, and somebody in the chat room is saying that there may be some Google syncing that you could do. Well, I'm going to have to investigate this. That Google may sync to some Microsoft services. For instance, they suggest if you're using Windows 8.1 Mail, if you're using a Windows machine, that will sync with Google, and then you could sync that out to Outlook, Outlook.com. I don't blame Microsoft for this. I do feel like Google, for reasons I don't really understand, is dissing Microsoft. Maybe it's an anti-competitive thing. They work fine with Apple, I think because they had to, because the iPhone was dominant for so long. But remember, Google has their own platform, Android, and they'd love you all to start using Android. So Google and Apple work all right, but Google has never made any of its apps available for Windows Phone, not Google Plus, not Picasa. There was a bit of a little tiff between Microsoft and Google over the YouTube app. Microsoft made a YouTube app. Google said this violates our terms of service and killed it. Then Microsoft said, well, you make one, Google. Google said, no. Now Microsoft has an app that's basically a link to YouTube's page. I feel like Google is kind of intentionally saying we don't want to work with Windows Phone, and that's a shame. I think it's short-sighted. Google makes money because you use Google services, not because you use an Android phone or a Windows phone. The money is in using Google services so they can show you ads. They should support everything. They should support everything equally. Dr. Mom is on the line with a plug. Hi, Dr. Mom. Are you going to sew at the Maker Faire? Oh, Dr. Mom. Dr. Mom, the clock is ticking.
Fell asleep.
It sounds like she's snoring. That would be funny. Sometimes, I think she's snoring.
Totally fell asleep.
We keep people online on hold sometimes for a long time. She called early, and I've been gassing a lot during I think she's snoring. Oh my God. I don't want to embarrass her, but I think she fell asleep. Leo, boy, this is a thrilling show, huh? Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
That is classic.
Oh, I'm so excited. I finally get to meet Steve Martin. Oh, my God. It's been a star-crossed relationship. He listens to the show. He listens to the podcast. And I had mentioned on the show like 2 weeks ago that he and Edie Brickell, they just did an album, beautiful. Oh, gosh, I love the album. And they're doing a musical. And I didn't know it was in San Diego. I thought it was in L.A. So the musical is in previews. I think it started previews tonight. And he very kindly sent me a note, said, well, let's go to dinner and you can come to the show. And it's right before we leave for London. So Lisa and I are going, oh, can we do this? But I think it's going to work out great. So we're going to go down and it'll be fun. It'll be fun. I'm so excited. He said we can Uber over to the show. He's such a geek. He said, I want your help in keeping my 69-year-old nude body pictures from leaking out.
Dr. Mom's awake.
Oh, she is?
She's in the chat room.
Poor Dr. Mom. I'll give her the plug, and I feel so bad.
Still have her on the line, I think, though.
Well, hey, how are you today? This is Leo Laporte, the tech guy, the show that puts people to sleep all over the country every weekend. 8888 Ask Leo is the number. Are you awake, Dr. Mom? Are you awake now?
Yeah.
I am so sorry. But as you can see, this is a live program. We don't... You know, there's another computer program I just found out, a well-known call-in show, where you email and then they call you, they decide and they call you and they record it and they edit it. We don't do that. This is, if we did, would we have had Dr. Mom snoring on the air? No, I don't think so. Hi, Dr. Mom.
Hi.
Do you want us to edit that out of the show? I'm so sorry. I apologize. And I'm sorry I put you to sleep.
Oh, no, it wasn't you. It's the dog is sleeping on my lap.
Oh, it's the dog. Oh, good. Oh, yeah. So you wanted to plug the Maker Faire. Now, this is actually a great event that happens all over, I was going to say all over the country, but literally all over the world, to support people who are making things and all kinds of fun things, including things like handicrafts, like textiles, like sewing, and that's what you're there for, right?
Right. As I tell people, this year I'm teaching 3D modeling using flexible materials, a.k.a. knitting.
But it's the original 3D modeling. How fun. So this is the World Maker Faire. It's coming up 6 days, 17 hours, 52 minutes, and 32 seconds right now. It'll be, where in New York is it? At the Hall of Science?
Correct. It's right behind Citi Field, or as they used to call it, Shea Stadium. You can take the train there, the buses. And big thing, this year they're doing again like they did last year. Some of the lectures, the talks are going to be broadcast, simulcast on the web.
Oh, that's great.
If you can't get them. And last year in the San Francisco one, MIT announced that they were going to start letting you include your maker activities in your application.
To MIT? Wow.
MIT.
Wow.
And this Sunday, the lecture is going to be their first year experience. It'll be Chris Peterson, who's an assistant director for MIT admissions.
So if you go online to Maker Faire, and that's fair spelled with an E, like the old Renaissance Fair, makerfair.com, you can get tickets, get more information, get a schedule. Also find out about Maker Fairs elsewhere. There's one coming up in Rome in early next month, and they're all over the world. But they're calling this the World Maker Faire. Why is that, Dr. Mom?
I really don't know. I mean, it's part of the place is where the World's Fair was.
Oh, that's why. This is from the 1965 World's Fair. That's where that big globe that you saw in Men in Black and all right.
Oh, and the Wiz too when they did dancing.
Yeah,
that was also
the Wiz,
there.
right? The Wiz. So Disney is sponsoring it. The Maker Fair's come a long way. You know, Disney, Intel, Ford, Toyota. They're all sponsoring this. This has become a big deal. Oh, look, Radio Shack is spending its last few dollars on this. That's cool. So makerfair.com if you want to know more. Dr. Mom will be there. When will you be knitting?
I'm going to be there Saturday and Sunday for a couple of hours each day.
Right.
And then the rest of the time, my daughter is now a physics teacher in San Diego.
Oh, that's neat. Oh, that's great.
So I have a list of things I'm supposed to go pick up for her class.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Mom.
Well, thank you for letting me put the plug in.
Have a nice nap. I mean, the dog should have a nice nap. Maker Faire is a great event. I've been to many Maker Fairs. It started actually just in our neck of the woods not so long ago, and it's taken off. Make Magazine put it on, and just a really great event. I mentioned I shouldn't be snide. In fact, I feel very sad about this. Radio Shack literally on its last legs, and they really should sponsor Maker Faire. In fact, making is something that could keep Radio Shack alive. They have Arduinos there. They have projects. Of course, it's the last place in many towns you could still buy electronics components. But unfortunately, they've been losing money. They just released their latest quarterly results. They lost 20% year over year, and the store's sales down 20%. They're almost out of money. So it's a sad thing, because I think Radio Shack, for a lot of us, was the first place we got our first soldering iron, got our first resistors, our breadboards. This is, and I don't know how many thousands of stores in every community. So somebody should bail them out. Bill Gates, maybe Steve Ballmer. Instead of buying a basketball team, just bail out Radio Shack. That would be such a gift. And then see, I think Radio Shack kind of missed a bit, because when the things started going south, they decided, well, we're going to sell cell phones, and we're going to sell remote control vehicles, and they kind of, the front of the store became all these things nobody wanted, and all the good stuff was pushed to the back of the store. You know what, Radio Shack, you could reinvent yourself. You could say, we're for geeks. We're the store for geeks. We got components, and hire people who understand this stuff and can do classes and teach. I bet you could come back to life. Maybe somebody would buy just the remaining assets, get those stores, and bring it back to life. Many of you, your first computer, I bet, was a Tandy or TRS-80. Sure, they really were an important part of this technology revolution and the maker revolution. Dan in Bakersfield, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Dan. Well, Dan's definitely not asleep. Oh, there he is. Hi, Dan.
Did I hear my name? Okay, I'm sorry. I was practicing while waiting. I wasn't.
What are you practicing, Dan? Do you work in a wind tunnel?
I played the drums, kind of like.
Oh, you were drumming.
Yes.
Wow. Do you play the drums for a living or for fun?
I play them for a workout. I play the piano for fun.
That sounds like a good workout.
It really is.
There are no fat drummers.
Well, I don't know about that, but I'll tell you what, if you play them right and you play for an hour straight, it is a workout.
I'm going to take up the drums. That sounds like fun. And you make a lot of noise, yeah.
And your neighbors will love you.
What can I do? What can I do for you, Dan?
I record these sessions on the piano and drums on an old Canon M301 POS from Costco. It works fine. But my problem is software. The software that comes with it absolutely sucks.
So you're recording. This is a video camera. So
it's a video camera. I just do it for evaluation. A few YouTube videos make it.
Oh, neat.
Upload.
What's your YouTube handle?
Dan, I think. I used to go by Big Sonic Boom, and then all of a sudden that name disappeared.
Oh, I hate that. YouTube does that sometimes.
Why did that happen? That was a great name, and it was fine. Anyway. Dan.
It can't just be Dan. It's got to be more than just Dan, but I'll see if I can. Wait a minute. If I go to Big Sonic Boom, I see Dan Lane. Is that you?
That's me.
Dan's look at all the drumming on here. This is great.
Yeah, I haven't uploaded any current ones yet, but yeah, it's just for fun.
So, yeah, the software. A lot of people, try to. Are you on Windows or Mac?
Windows 7.
So Windows comes with Windows Movie Maker, which is a pretty primitive piece of software. What are you?
Sure is.
Yeah. What are you trying to use? Are you using that, or are you doing something?
I'm trying to use Windows Movie Maker, and I'm growing old as it.
Yeah, no, it's horrible.
To figure it out.
Yeah, okay, so a couple of recommendations. On the low end, at $79, Premiere Elements is really good. It's the baby brother of a editing program a lot of pros use, Adobe Premiere. So Premiere Elements, it's under $100. And it will also let you burn DVDs. I mean, it's really a nice little editing program. And then if you want to get, a lot of people swear by Sony Vegas, a little more expensive, but Vegas is a great editing program for home users for the kind of thing you want to do. I'm wondering if there's an inexpensive, like Vegas Pro's $400. That's probably more than you want to spend.
That's more than I'd like to buy a camera instead of doing that.
Yeah, no, maybe you should get a better camera. Although any camera like that will be fine for YouTube. I would say Adobe Premiere Elements. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Drum on, my friend, drum on. Our show today brought to you by our friends at Prosper.com. Have I talked about Prosper on the Tech Guy podcast before? It's really a neat idea. If you go to Prosper.com, you can go there right now and get a quote on a loan. Prosper is peer-to-peer lending. That's a very clever idea. Prosper brings people with money to lend together with people who want to borrow money. They make loans fast, up to 72 hours, up to $35,000. These are fixed-rate loans. They're unsecured personal loans, so you don't have to provide collateral. There are multi-year terms available. And the thing is, you can go right now and get a quote for a loan, get your interest rate, and it won't affect your credit score. Very easy to do. Prosper, Prosper, Prosper.com/twit. Imagine what you could do with $35,000 in 72 hours. Pay off those high-rate credit cards, or maybe buy a drum kit for exercise. Prosper.com/twit. There are more than 2 million members there. They've funded now more than $1 billion in loans. This is really Silicon Valley's answer to going to the bank, hat in hand. You know, got to wear a tie, got to wear pants. You can do this all from your computer. Prosper.com/twit. And for a limited time, Prosper is offering Twit viewers a $50 Visa prepaid card when you get that loan. So a little extra. Just a little something. Go to Prosper.com/twit. That's a special site just for you. Up to $35,000 in just 3 days and the $50 Visa prepaid card. Prosper.com/twit. 8888, ask Leo the number. David in Boca Raton, where the IBM PC was invented.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's where they sent the engineers from Armonk, New York, down to Boca so no one would know they were working on a personal computer.
Absolutely, and that's on Yamato Road. I don't know what it is now. It's a huge campus, though. The IBM Credit Union is still there.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, it's a credit union now.
It is. I mean, well, somebody else bought it, and it's one of the only buildings around here that has its own heliports and stuff like that. Yeah. And of course,
that's why.
The major reason.
That's why.
For the Boca Executive Airport being.
In fact, it's very sad. Don Estridge, the guy who spearheaded that development of in 1981 of the IBM PC, passed away in a plane crash shortly thereafter. Those guys did a lot of traveling, a lot of flying.
Oh, I had no idea. Yeah. Well, it also was the interesting story how they came to the West Coast and visited CPM, who apparently in San Diego were going golfing and couldn't bother meeting with IBM that day.
Yeah, sort of the story. It was in Monterey. It was Gary Kildall, the guy who wrote DR-DOS. They were looking for an operating system for their new IBM PC. Gary was an avid amateur pilot and was in the plane, in the air, or about to go in the air, and his secretary said, "Hey, IBM's here. They want to talk to you about buying Digital Research DR-DOS." Gary said, "Nah, I don't want to talk to him. I'm in the plane." And that was that. They went to Seattle to Microsoft, and Bill Gates, who did not have an operating system, he had written BASIC for the early computers, the early CPM computers, and they said, "Hey, Bill, you got anything?" And Bill said, "Oh yeah, we have a DOS. It'll be great. An operating system will be great for the IBM PC." They said, "Good, we'll make a deal." They went back to Armonk or Boca, and then Bill Gates went across the street to a little company called Seattle DOS and said, "I'll give you $15,000 for your operating system," without telling anybody that he was going to sell it to IBM. And that's how you get to be the richest man in the world.
Interesting. And and it's so appropriate because most of my question at this point has to do mostly with his, or not his, but since he's not really controlling the company anymore, but he's just kind of around. Anyways, I have a Vista machine and Vista Pro and so on and so forth, and I'm considering trying to figure out, should I gear myself to go to Windows 8.1?
You know what? At this point, I would wait. At the end of the month, September 30th, we're going to get the first preview of Windows 9.
Ah, okay.
And it will be out in the spring. And as far as I'm concerned, Windows 8 is the Vista of this decade.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Windows 7 was great, the successor to Vista. Windows 8 stank. Windows 9 is going to fix a lot of that, and my guess is Windows 9 will be the Windows you want. So
well, that's excellent. If
you can wait till the spring, in fact, there's even a rumor they might give it away. They've been so snake bit by the rejection of Windows 8 that I think it's even a credible rumor.
That could definitely be absolutely amazing because obviously they seem to miss every other one.
Yeah,
Windows ME was terrible.
I know it doesn't seem fair to say that, but it does kind of seem true. It does kind of seem true. Yeah, ME was terrible. 98 was great. ME was terrible. XP was great. Vista was terrible. Windows 7 was great. In fact, I would say Windows 7 is the best version of Windows to date. Windows 8, they made some very, the internals I think are very good, but they made some very bad choices on the user interface.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, people who even got the 8.1 are still complaining about it, and I've read a couple of things.
Yeah, 8.1's better. 8.1's better. It's it's hard to say if I use 8.1 and I'm used to it. But you shouldn't have to get used to an operating system.
I agree. I have a job to do, and it's not getting used to the UI.
Yeah, and Vista works great. The good news is 8, 7, and 9 will all work better on the same hardware that you're using with Vista. Lighter weight, faster. So it will be a definite upgrade for you, and a good one, I think.
Well, that's good. And actually, the other question is sort of relating to that may or may not relate to the new Windows 9 is I was reading in the release notes, which I know is a scary thing to do, but it mentions there's a feature. I have no idea what it is or if I want it or if it's important, but it talks about secure boot requires firmware that supports UEFI version 2.3.
That's right.
So on and so forth. And then it talks about, well, you really need to go ahead and get apparently the firmware or ROM BIOS, I guess, that has to do with it.
Well, here's the deal. All the new PCs use this new UEFI boot. Remember BIOS? We all used BIOS. Your Vista machine uses BIOS. That was the thing that loaded before the operating system, got everything ready, and then said, okay, let's load the operating system. So it's a very critical piece of the startup process in a PC, and it has a lot of the services that Windows uses are coming from that boot interface. So, but it's not secure, and so Intel and Microsoft and others, collaborated. Actually, it was Apple that was the first to use it. Something called the Extensible Firmware Interface to replace BIOS, EFI. And the secure boot is something on top of that. That means basically a bad guy can't maliciously modify your boot code and compromise your computer. So secure boot prevents you from modifying the firmware. You can turn secure boot off.
Which you need to do if we need to get an upgrade to your or to your.
Well, Windows will always support secure boot, so you're okay with Windows. It's if you wanted to put Linux or something else on there. You'd have to turn off secure boot. The next generation of Windows will work fine with the UEFI hardware.
Okay. All right. Good. Yeah. Well, that's excellent. And I think I'll just wait. It's not urgent.
If it's not urgent, I think that we. In fact, if you look around this week, just a couple of days ago, the first video purporting to be Windows 9 user interface came out. I think it's credible. It shows the return of an actual start menu. Although Microsoft does not want to. Hey, Microsoft's kind of like us. We just don't want to admit they made a mistake. So they're bringing back the start menu because everybody's said, "Where's our start menu?" But the start menu has tiles in it. It's like, well, we still want tiles. No, we don't. No, we don't. But you're gonna get them. See, people want tiles. No, they don't. They also are going to do something that Linux has had for, I don't know, 10 years, virtual desktops. So you can have workspaces that are virtual desktops, and you'll be able to move from one to the other. That's a nice feature, too. Macintosh has it as well. If you want to see what I believe an accurate video of what Windows looks like, go to Paul Thurrott's site, the super site for Windows, winsupersite.com, and he has a link to the videos there, and you can see the user interface. And the reason it's leaking out is because we're 2 weeks away from the first beta. Can you believe that? It feels like Windows 8 just came out. We just started complaining about it the other day, it feels like. And now here it is. It's already on the trash heap, and the next version of Windows is coming. And in the meanwhile, if you're using Windows 8, there are ways, third-party ways, that you can modify it to look like Windows 7. StarDock makes a bunch of these for $5. StarDock.com. They even make one that puts drop shadows back on the windows, if that's something you care about. More of your calls coming up. 8888 Ask Leo. I think Windows 7 is actually pretty good. Yeah.
I looked at 8 and I said, why do they want to be like Apple?
You know, just the charms bar. It's like, come on, please. Don't hide stuff. I can't figure out where you put it. So this poor guy, Tim Patterson, was just 25. And he wrote a replacement to CP/M. It was called QDOS. And he took his computer over to Microsoft and showed them. And starting in April 1980, he wrote QDOS over a 4-month period. Microsoft, when they heard from IBM, they looked for an operating system. They bought the rights to market the system to other manufacturers for $25,000, not $15,000, $25,000. And, of course, Microsoft made billions on MS-DOS, which was just a QDOS. So they bought the full rights to the operating system on July 27th for $50,000. And they said, you Seattle Computer, you can still sell it forever, but we have the exclusive rights for every other royalty-free, $50,000. And neglected to tell them that IBM was looking for an operating system. This is good business, right? You're not going to say, hey, IBM wants an operating system. They're going to give us millions. Can we buy yours for $50,000? You're not going to say that.
I've also heard that Microsoft's trying to get out, sort of getting out of the OS business.
Well, I think Satya Nadella is saying to himself that operating systems don't matter so much anymore with the cloud, right? Cloud doesn't care what you're using. So I think they're going to really focus on the cloud and cloud services, software as a service, rent software over the cloud. And they have I think they have a very credible play there. They can't stop making Windows and Office because, you know, Office is in the cloud now. Yeah. Yeah. And you can get Office 365 that's fully web-based, and it's great. Not as powerful as the, download, but I feel like Microsoft is actually moving in the right direction, which is away from Windows. But you got to be careful because it, Yeah. They did all right. They did all right on that DOS deal. $50,000. I wonder how much they made. I mean,
Well, you had PC DOS and then you had MS-DOS.
then IBM had its own PC DOS, which was that completely different from MS-DOS? I think it was just it was IBM labeled MS-DOS. So you could
There were some commands that that didn't work.
Really? Yeah. I wish Dvorak were here. He's old. He would remember. I thought IBM's PC DOS was just relabeled MS-DOS. I mean, they certainly started from the same base, let's put it that way. And then Microsoft continued to sell MS-DOS.
But if you remember right,
But you couldn't get PC DOS on a Compaq. You had to use MS-DOS.
622, whereas PC DOS stopped
Earlier. Yeah. A lot earlier, yeah. Yeah, and DR DOS, they did really see, but it was too late. It was too late. Yeah, I remember my first hard drive was 5 megabytes, and it cost $3,000. I didn't buy it. I got my boss to buy it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo the number. I did a little research, little Wikipedia research on Microsoft and Seattle DOS, QDOS. So the story is, and I think it's accurate, that IBM, building its new PC, knew it was going to be releasing it in the fall of 1981, 33 years ago. Knew they needed an operating system. They'd heard about this kid, Bill Gates, and his little company, Microsoft, in Seattle. He did a pretty good job with BASIC. They flew out to talk to him, and they said, hey, we need an operating system. Can you get us one? Do you have one? Bill said, yeah, I do. I would have loved to have been there. Yeah, I have. Yeah, they didn't. But he knew where he could get one. Across the street, a little company called Seattle Computing, something like that. And a young guy, 25-year-old Tom Patterson, he had written a little disk operating system. Bill goes over, hey, Tom. I like what you're doing here. I think I would like to buy, I'm sorry, Tim. I'd like to buy your QDOS. $50,000 for an unlimited license in perpetuity forever. Now, I have to think that Tim Patterson, if he had known that IBM was looking for an operating system, would have charged a little more than $50,000. But whatever, he got his 50 grand. Bill Gates got an operating system, which he sold to IBM. Bill did a smart thing. He was a cagey businessman because he worked out a deal with IBM that they would continue to retain rights, that he would sell IBM a copy of DOS for every PC, but Microsoft would be able to sell its own and continue to own it. And that was a good deal because, as you know, Microsoft was very successful in the 80s and 90s, making a lot of money, first on DOS, then on Windows. And they never gave IBM DOS. They never sold it outright. They only licensed it. Smart move, Bill. Brian, San Juan Capistrano, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Brian.
Yeah, how are you doing today?
I am well. How are you?
Good. I got a question for you.
Yes.
Do you think Sprint is going to go away, and do you think T-Mobile will merge with Sprint?
That deal's dead. They were talking about it. That deal's dead. They decided that regulatory approval would not be forthcoming for a Sprint T-Mobile merger. I think a little signal from the federal government might have helped them make that decision. The real question is T-Mobile going to be acquired? Because now the latest is a French phone company is trying to buy T-Mobile. So I don't know what's going to happen. Sprint's around for the long haul. I don't think they're going away. They've had they've struggled. Not entirely their fault. Sometimes this happens in this business. They invested, look, everybody knew 10 years ago that high-speed data networks were going to be very important to cell phone, especially with smartphones coming out to cell phone users. When the iPhone came out in 2007, it practically killed AT&T's data network, but they had it. They had an exclusive on it, and they built their network as fast as they could. Unfortunately, Sprint made a bet on something called WiMAX, which it turned out a dead end. You may remember Sprint was using Clearwire, which was a WiMAX company. They had a very poor fourth-generation data offering. Everybody else went with LTE. And Sprint was late to the party. They've abandoned WiMAX. They're going LTE, but as a result, they were slow and late, and a lot of people had a bad experience with their data plans and so forth. It's funny because when Sprint was using PCS, it was very early on a very good high-speed data system. But it just got eclipsed. Their CEO, Dan Hesse, made it's easy to do, made a bad choice, and the company's been stumbling ever since. I don't think Sprint's going away. I hope not. In fact, I don't use Sprint here in this little town in Northern California because it's just it doesn't have very good coverage here. But my mom, who lives in Rhode Island, gets great Sprint service, so I got her an iPhone 6 Plus on Sprint. So she's happy with that. And Sprint is offering probably the lowest prices. They're certainly competing with T-Mobile for their all-in-one package. I think it's $50 for the iPhone. Unlimited data, text, and phone calls.
I like that about both T-Mobile and Sprint, the unlimited data. I wish Verizon and AT&T would do the same thing.
Well, and I think that's what's happening is you've got the two big companies that own almost all the market, Verizon and AT&T, and then you've got these little guys, and that's good. And that's one of the reasons I think regulators did not want to see a Sprint-T-Mobile merger, because the little guys have to compete, so they offer great deals. And both T-Mobile and Sprint have very aggressive pricing, right. unlike Verizon and AT&T.
Yeah.
So it all comes down to how's the coverage where you live.
Right.
If Sprint is good or you get good T-Mobile LTE, I use T-Mobile here in Petaluma because nobody else in the world's using T-Mobile. So the speeds are great. I'm not sharing my data with anybody. I'm one of the 10 people who have T-Mobile or something. So I mean, I'm obviously exaggerating, but it's very good here. So their LTE is good here. So if that's the thing to always check first. How's the coverage? Not just for phone, but for data. And the other thing that's changing, and in the next year will totally change, is we're going to start getting voice over LTE. That means the GSM, CDMA, these competing technologies are gone. Everybody will be using LTE for both voice and data, and that's good.
Right.
That's good. And all four are doing that.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yeah, I wouldn't hesitate buying a Sprint phone if it's good coverage in your area. And if it's good, it's only going to get better. On any of these, it's as bad as it's ever going to be right now. Because one of the reasons it took AT&T years to catch up, they really got hurt by being the exclusive iPhone company. For the first few years, you could only get an iPhone from AT&T, and it turned out iPhone users used gulped data, in huge amounts of data, and it killed the AT&T data network. And for a long time, if there were other iPhone users around, just forget it. I remember going to the Macworld Expo, and you just couldn't use your phone. It just was unusable. South by Southwest, AT&T actually brought trucks in with cell towers on them to supplement. But of course, as soon as this started happening, they said, well, we're going to build more towers. We're going to upgrade our stuff. It just takes so long, especially in areas like San Francisco, where the Board of Supervisors there just does not let you put up new cell towers. It takes years of regulatory approval. So it just took a long time. But now I think they've caught up. I really do. And I think all of the carriers, it's very clear the writing's on the wall. It has been for 7 years. So all of them have had 7 years to really beef up their networks. And it's just Sprint got a little behind because they made a bad choice. Could have been a great choice. Could have been a great choice, but it just, the technology did not live up to its promise, the WiMAX. I remember when we were first talking about WiMAX, we all thought this is going to change everything. Aurelia on the line from California. Hi, Aurelia. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Good afternoon. Thank you for taking my call.
Thanks for calling.
I have a question. I have a Mac PC and also iPhone.
Okay.
And on Facebook, they changed message the.
Yeah, you have to now have both the Facebook app and the messaging app.
Yes. Okay. I start to get messaging from Facebook, which is eating my text messaging.
Yes.
And I deleted the instant messaging.
Hey, hang on. We got to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk some more, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Don't go anywhere. Leo Laporte. That's driving me crazy, too. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. That Belgian guy is Dick DeBartolo, the Giz Wiz. Dickie D, hang on. We're going to get a gadget from Dickie D, but... Oh, thank you. I feel much better now. No, I was talking to Aurelia. Oh, golly, did I just lose her? What did I do here? Aurelia, are you still there? Oh, I pushed the wrong button. She was having trouble with Facebook. You know, everybody who uses a Facebook mobile app has been faced with this, that Facebook says, no more messaging in your mobile app. We're going to separate it out. You have to install Facebook and Facebook Messenger. So it's kind of a grab for real estate on your smartphone. And then she was saying it was eating her SMS messages. And I think that's another thing they're trying to do is, hey, we'll just be your all-in-one messaging solution. I don't know what the solution is to that. You know, I took Facebook and Facebook Messenger off my phone. That was my solution. But I understand, Aurelia and others, you don't want to do that because this is how you communicate with friends and family and so forth. You know, let me play with the settings, see if we can figure that out. Did you see, Dick, that a number of grandmas have been having trouble with Facebook lately? They've been with autocorrect. They've been they write, you know, oh, honey, it's great to hear from you. Lots of love, Grandma. And the autocorrect turns Grandma into Grandmaster Flash.
Oh, really?
And so if you search...
No wonder my grandmother called up. Sounded like a sailor and hung up.
Grandmaster Flash.
That is so...
I think grandmas are just hip. That's all. They're just hipper than you and me. So Dickie D is Mad Magazine's maddest writer. He's been doing that for a few years, and he's just, we love him. The latest Mad Magazine features his parody of Shark Tank. He calls it Snark Tank.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Cuban gets his comeuppance on this one, though. I like it.
Yeah.
From a guy named Leo Laporte and a gal named Lisa Kensel.
Nice.
Hey,
and you saw Twit TV in the Times, right? On
we did. Yeah, no, that, I feel bad about that, actually. The Macworld magazine, which is a magazine, was launched in 1984 when the Macintosh computer was launched and has been published for 20 years. No, is it 30 years? Holy cow, 30 years since is going out of, not going out of business, but going out of the print business. Yeah. Many of my friends, and I have a great many friends who work at Macworld, were laid off. Including its longtime editor-in-chief, Jason Snell, who's a very good friend. It's really sad. And then the New York Times blamed me. The New York Times said that Macworld magazine stopped its print edition because it couldn't keep up with companies like CNET and Twit, my company. That's not my fault.
It's not your fault at all. No,
actually, it's tough for a monthly magazine to cover technology.
Absolutely, that's why Mad also is on the iPad, and that's why we print Mad in crayon, so that it's not a print medium. It is a drawing medium.
You know, I always thought those colors were particularly rich and vital.
Yes, and come off on your hands.
Yeah, the burnt sienna is gorgeous.
Thank you.
So, what do you got for us this week?
Leo, I have a follow-up of a product I talked about 5 months ago that I was dying to get my hands on, and I finally did. It is the Jump Pack from Cobra.
Is this a jetpack? Because I want to cut my commute times.
Oh, no, not a jetpack. The Jump Pack.
Oh.
Okay. The Jump Pack is a little 11-ounce, 7,500 milliamp external battery charger.
There's so many.
And when I saw it at the show, I said to the man, don't tell me the jumper cables on the display table work with the Jump Pack. And he said they do.
What? It can jumpstart your car?
So
charge your phone and jumpstart your car?
Exactly. So last week,
No.
I went down to the marina, and the battery for my starting battery for my V6 225 horsepower Yamaha was dead. So I have an auxiliary battery, but I figured I'm not going to use the auxiliary battery. I'm going to start this engine with the jump pack. Connect it to the battery, and then you plug it into the jump pack. You hit the button, and I turned the key. First time round, that V6 came to life and ran perfectly. Wow. I used to lug around one of those big lead acid standby charges, weighed 22 pounds. If
so
you didn't
it's
charge
200 amps with a 400 amp peak capacity.
Cranking power.
Is that enough to crank most engines?
You know what? I said to the guy, I have a V6, which starts fine. How about a V8? He said it will start a V8. So this is great. It's expensive. It's a 130 list, and Amazon has it for about 120 with Amazon Prime. But the other neat thing is once you charge it, which takes about 3 to 4 hours, it'll hold 80 to 90% charge for a year.
Oh, so you just keep it in the glove compartment. I mean,
yeah,
it's small.
but it also comes with a 12-volt cigarette charger, and it comes with a 110 cigarette charger, and it comes with the jumper cable. So this is a really neat thing for emergencies.
Not a huge battery. You'd think with all of that, it'd be a huge battery for charging your smartphone. It's only 7,500 milliamp hours.
I know, it is funny how we now like 7,500 is
but that's like 2 or 3 charges of an iPhone.
Yeah, exactly.
That's enough.
Exactly.
Oh,
but
cool.
you have a friend of mine, Andy Smith, said they started their boat engine 3 times without recharging. Wow. So it's pretty neat. Jump pack, Cobalt.
Well, when Cobra comes out with a jet pack, I hope you'll let me know. Meanwhile,
yeah, you're going to be the first, pal. You may not go across the water, but you can go up.
Dick's website, Dick, is at gizwiz.biz, Gizwiz.biz. You can go there and get all the details on this product and every product he talks about on his many appearances on ABC, World News Now, and elsewhere. He also has a great game, the What the Heck Is It game, a chance to win an autographed copy of Mad Magazine if you can identify a close-up photo of some weird gadget. Last one was, remind me again, was a shoe
It was a
rack?
shoe stacker.
Shoe stacker.
A shoe stacker. So that you could have twice the amount of shoes in your closet.
And we'll be playing this for the next couple of months through the end of October, through Halloween.
Through Halloween.
So, but now the key is on this that it's not just a reward for the right answer. There are as many as 12 autographed Mad Magazines for the right answer, but there are 24 for the cleverest wrong answer. So
yeah, you don't have to know. Just make up something stupid that it could be.
It's Dick's
clever.
It's Dick's version of the New Yorker cartoon caption contest.
Yeah,
exactly. Just write the right. Have you ever done that? You'd be good at that.
No. You know what? Do you ever see the thing on 60 Minutes? To this day, no matter how famous you are, you go and you sit in a queue.
Yeah.
And the cartoon editor.
Yeah, that guy looks tough. He reminded me a little bit of you, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, so they did I forgot the guy's name, but he's been a long-time editor of cartoons for the New Yorker magazine. And he rules with an iron fist.
Yes. It's the Lisa of the New Yorker.
Don't tell her that.
Because we see this coming too hard.
I'd be happy with it. I'd be happy with an iron fist. Hers is titanium. He's talking about Lisa, who runs our company here, Lisa Kensel. Hey, thank you, Dickie D.
Yes, sir. Thank you for last week, too. And I'll be here later for
the Giz Fizz. A little bit later, because I'm going to stay on the air for an extra half hour recording calls. I'm going to sneak out of the show tomorrow. Shh, don't tell anybody this. If the boss finds out, I'm in trouble. But the 49ers game, it's an evening game in Santa Clara. I want to go down for their home opener. I'm going to take the bus down. Lisa and I are taking the bus down. It leaves at 1:45. So I'm going to record like the last half hour of the show.
Oh, good. See if anybody notices.
See if anybody notices. My answers will be a day old. Be like day old bread. Well, you know what? We'll only charge you half.
Good.
Yeah. Half price. All answers half price tomorrow. Thank you, Dick.
Bye.
See you later. So I ran out of time. The show's almost over here. If you're on the line, hang on the line. We are going to continue to take calls. And next show I was going to talk about the Moto 360, this Motorola watch, which I've been wearing. the prettiest of the smartwatches so far. But I'll do that next time. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. I'm Leo Laporte. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, the Tech Guy is just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows now on the Twit Netcast network, and you'll find them all at twit.tv. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPad on iPad Today. You get your daily dose of tech news from Tech News Today, and our weekly roundtable show, This Week in Tech. It's all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next time with another great Tech Guy podcast. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.